You know, I really have a thing for Italian food. Whenever I go out to eat, I often choose pizzas and lasagna over most other dishes. Damn, I'm drooling already. But why am I talking about Italian food? Because I'm riding an Italian motorcycle today. Say hello to the new Ducati Monster. And there's a major emphasis on the word new because almost every aspect of this bike is different over its predecessor. Now, this is not the first time we are riding the Monster. Back in October 2021, my colleague Neil was fortunate enough to belt it down the mighty Buddh International Circuit where he had a ball. But a racetrack is not the only place where it will spend its life, is it? So here we are out in the real world with some wide open highways, some twisties and dense traffic. So is it going to be equally impressive here as well? And am I going to like it as much as pizza and lasagna? Let's find out. Ever since the new Monster was unveiled, people the world over have been ranting about the lack of visual presence it has over the previous Monster. Now, to some degree, I agree with them because the butch and imposing stance that the previous Monster had, it might be lacking a bit. However, you have to get rid of the nostalgic drama and prior references and properly behold the Monster to really admire the subtle visual treat that it is. Although extremely compact, the Monster does pack in some muscle and aggression. That's especially around the fuel tank area, which looks attractive with neat contours and side bulges. Then there's a low-slung oval-shaped headlamp, a pointed upswept tail, and the dual slash-cut exhaust, all of which make for a sight worth giving some attention. It's a typical Ducati when it comes to quality, leaving almost no room for complaints. The only small niggle I noticed are uneven panel gaps in the plastic cladding around the fuel tank section. Except for that, the motorcycle only shouts quality and upmarket finishing. May it be the flushness of paint, the sturdiness of panels, or the precision in welds, everything is top-notch. Even the buttons on the switchgear are tactile and easy to operate. The ergonomics of the Monster are welcoming and accessible. Now, this bulging design of the fuel tank and low seat really gives you the feeling that you are actually sitting in the bike. You have to bend slightly forward to reach the handlebar. The foot pegs are mildly rear set, which gives you a great balance of commitment and comfort. And when you want to go full send, there is enough space to shift slightly back, crouch down, grip the fuel tank. Everything feels natural. However, the taller riders might find the overall seating slightly cramped, if not uncomfortable. And while tiptoeing in traffic, I felt an unusual pressure building up on my wrist, and my left side calves kept touching the crankcase continuously. Now, if you miss out on reading the Monster name on the fuel tank, you might mistake it for a much smaller motorcycle. But that's not the case when you crank up the engine. So it settles into a typical V-twin rumble at idle, but when you rev it, you are treated with a mechanical roar, which is not very loud but likable nonetheless. Let's listen to it. Before I tell you about the riding experience, let me take you through the electronic aids it has, since the list is a comprehensive one. The Monster is generously equipped to take care of the rider's shenanigans and blunders. There are 3 levels of cornering ABS, 8 levels of traction control, and 4 levels of wheelie control. All of these parameters intervene differently depending upon the selected riding mode among sport, touring, and urban. Interestingly, each riding mode also offers certain extent of customization. All the information is displayed on a 4.3-inch TFT instrument cluster, which shows data in a crisp and legible manner even under direct sun. It shows ample information in a clear and easy to read layout. All the functions can be monitored and tweaked via left side switchgear, which is a time consuming task as you need to operate separate buttons to toggle and select each. A single multifunction joystick would have made it all much easier. Talking about the most significant updates, the new 937cc engine has replaced the previous smaller displacement engines, and this makes more power and torque at 111 bhp and 93 Newton meters. Also, the long-running trellis frame has made way for the new aluminium monocoque chassis, which is inspired by the Panigale. What's even more interesting is that the new Monster is as much as 18 kilos lighter than its predecessor. So how does the whole package come together out on the streets? Well, beautifully. The new Monster shows a profound urgency from as low as 3000 rpm, which is maintained up to 5000 rpm. This is where the motorcycle spends most of its time, may it be in the city or on the highway. And this is where it feels enjoyable, eager, but manageable at the same time. However, keep rolling the throttle, get past 5000 rpm, and it goes on to justify the Monster tag with a ferocious acceleration. Do this in the first two gears and the front wheel keeps fighting the wheelie control to let go off the tarmac. It reaches the 100 kmph mark in a jiffy, and the progression to some ridiculous speeds is equally quick. Mind you, all of this is in the most conservative urban riding mode, which I spend most of my time in. It keeps the maximum power restricted to 75 bhp. One can push their own and the bike's limits much more by trying out the more aggressive sport mode. It transforms the bike into a true maniac by dialing down the electronic intervention, sharpening the throttle response, and extracting full 111 horses. The electronics of the Monster deserve a special mention for the grace with which they work. For instance, you might not even notice the traction control saving slides around corners on aggressive acceleration. What's truly likable about the Monster is that it puts down power linearly without surprising you with sudden explosion anywhere in the rev band. It could do with better tractability though. One can potter around at 50 to 60 kmph of speeds in 5th gear, but there's noticeable shudder. Another issue is the heating from the engine. Spend about 5 minutes in traffic and the heat starts being dissipated on your right thigh. It soon reaches temperatures high enough to threaten you of getting through your pants and burning your skin. Even the 6-speed gearbox of the bike is properly slick and almost free of false neutrals. The bi-directional quick shifter in particular is a treat to operate. Except for a few instances when it threw tantrums, the gears shifted even with a slight touch, making the overall experience quite engaging and fun. In terms of handling, the Monster is pretty obedient and communicative. The motorcycle tips into corners with ease, and holding on to the desired line isn't a task either. Flick it from side to side or take on long sweeping corners, and the Monster feels composed and graceful. Major credit goes to the grippy Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3 tires besides other factors. I like the ride quality too. It delivers a great balance between sporty handling and a comfortable ride. The small amplitude undulations are cleanly ironed out. There's a hint of firmness while going over tall speed breakers or through deep potholes, but it's never back-breaking. Well, the braking performance is equally likable. The Brembo M4.32 calipers deliver a tremendous bite no matter how hard you go on them. However, at times I wished for better feedback from the front and rear both. So do I like the new Monster as much as pizza and lasagna? Well, much more than that. I mean, it is ballistic enough to satisfy an experienced rider and friendly enough to be suitable for a new big bike rider. More than that, it has all the ingredients that are necessary to make it immense fun, not only on the road but also on a racetrack. The engine performance is vigorous, the handling is precise, the brakes are bang on, and the electronic aids work like a charm. I was just left wishing for better heat management and more tractability from the engine. Now, for almost the same price as the Monster, you have the Triumph Street Triple RS, which gets grippier tires and fully adjustable suspension. But the brashfulness and the playfulness that the Monster offers is difficult to match. Now, would you want us to do a detailed comparison of the Triumph Street Triple RS and the Monster? Let us know in the comments.